Well, hello there, gentlemen.
Hello.
Hello.
How are we doing this fine evening?
I'm disturbed.
Oh, okay. What's up, Steve?
Oh, the title of the show is about free money. I want to know, is it my skin color or is it the dangly bits between my legs that are going to prevent me from getting it?
Well, in this particular case, it'll be the dangly bits that are your.
Oh, damn. Well, I'm not going to go that trans route, so I guess I'll just have to suffer through it. Make my own way.
Like you and every other male who calls himself a man, I have to explicitly exclude the trannies here. So,
yeah, okay.
What are we actually talking about tonight? Well, I'm sure you guys have seen it in the news that President Trump is floating this idea of a $5,000. I think it's going to be actually done as a tax credit. It's more of an idea because Congress hasn't actually done anything with it yet. But the reason he's floating this tax credit is because he and Elon Musk have been waxing poetic about the total fertility rate, the TFR. We don't have enough babies being born in the United States.
Shocker.
Well, the thought process that Trump has is the same thought process that Trump has for pretty much all problems, is that all problems can be solved with the appropriate application of economic forces, whatever that.
Oh, just throw money at it?
Well, or, like he's a big fan of tariffs, which is kind of the inverse of throwing money at a problem. So, but yeah, he like, I'm trying to build my case here that the guy sees the world entirely in the form of economics, which, look,
So
he's famous for it.
Is he a Max Weber or Karl Marx?
Does it matter for the purposes of figuring out how he thinks? I mean, seriously, because he does things that you could say are explicitly Marxist, or he fronts ideas that are, at the same time that he fronts ideas that Marx would find unconscionable. Yeah, Tacticus actually that's a good way of thinking about it. That everything is for sale, everything, Trump, and I think he's actually talked about this in his books. Trump firmly believes that every human has a price, has a number.
Well, I've heard some comments, analysis of Trump. The last guy that talks to him is the one who bends his ear and the way he goes. And these are people more on the right end of the spectrum say, yeah, he's not a deep thinker. He just kind of shoots from the hip, goes with whatever he heard last. So, okay, that could be. So he floats this trial balloon because it's not law yet. It's just talking, to get a flavor, get a sense of what are the people going to say. So this trial balloon of paying women to have kids, is it a trial balloon? Or is it going to turn into a lead balloon? Regardless, you know what? This is going to have the same effect as a fart in a windstorm.
Pretty much. It's does anyone know what the average cost of a childbirth is in the United States right now?
Yes, it's about 10,000.
I'm guessing
with
20.
Insurance. With insurance, right now, the average person will pay somewhere between $10,000 to $15,000 for a childbirth in the United States. That's with insurance. Okay.
What's it cost for a welfare woman to have a kid?
Oh, well, nothing because they're on Medicaid. But
okay.
So that, believe it or not, that's actually the trick. Get yourself on Medicaid and then having kids is free. And so, like there, we've solved the problem, guys. We have solved the birth rate problem, put all women on Medicare. Boom, done. Ah, shit. Wait. How's that working out for us? Well, as a matter of fact, I have some data on this because, we were talking a little bit before the show, and Nick was saying that he likes the data dump shows. Well, here we go. I have some data for you. Specifically, this is now, by the way, this data comes from the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis. They run a database called FRED. It is probably the most comprehensive collection or database of financial and economic statistics on the planet. The amount of data in here is just mind-blowing. Okay. So we're actually going to refer to Fred a few times tonight. But this is the total fertility rate for the United States since 1980. The data goes back to 1960. But we've talked about this at length in the red pill, and everyone says, "Oh, this is birth control." Okay, well, the pill comes on the market about in here. What the hell happened in here?
And that's when? From 1960 to
1970.
60 to 70. Okay.
Feminism.
Yeah, this
It's a
wasn't
boom,
this.
then boom. It's a double whammy.
Yeah, this was not the pill. The pill comes on the scene in here somewhere, right? Okay. This is the
It was on the
actual
decline.
Yeah, this is the actual data, guys. Like, we like to blame the pill, but
Okay. When did the pill actually come out?
it comes out in the early 60s, but it doesn't get widely available until the late 60s or early 70s.
The first mention of the pill was in around well, no, not the pill. Contraception was in 1930. Up until 1930, no Christian churches of any flavor anywhere condoned contraception. None. Zero. Then the Anglican Church came out and said, well, in certain circumstances, it's okay. This was in 1930. And I think that's when the Catholic Church responded with Casti Connubii, the encyclical Casti Connubii. And okay, so Anglican Church led the way, and then more and more churches said, yeah, okay, we can go along with that. And the Catholic Church officially never did, but it's pretty much all Catholics do it now, and the church has chosen to be silent on that and not really hammer at that. So, okay, it's pretty much universal, but it was unheard of prior to 1930, and it's taken a long time to implement. But I'm still not saying that this is the cause of things, although it's probably a contributing factor.
So the pill was first approved for use in the United States in 1960. Okay. But by 1962, only 1.2 million American women were on it. Only 1.2 million. The pill did not get popular until here. The pill was not widespread until much later. Okay. And this is I'm pulling from Wikipedia in the AMA here. I don't have it up on screen, but I've got it on one of my other monitors. Okay. This decline, and we don't have any data going back any further than that. So, but this decline happens in spite of birth control. This was happening anyway. 1962, only 1.2 million women are on it. That is less than 1% of American women alive at the time.
Okay.
Yeah, as numbers go, it doesn't actually matter for modifying total fertility rates. Okay, the pill gets popular in the 1970s, but that's
So
actually what's occurring here. So
when was the peak prior to 1960? What was
it
the
was in the 1950s. It was the quintessential baby boom.
okay? So what's the event? What's the thing that changed it? When there's a sea change or a dramatic change in a trend or a curve, what happened?
Well, if you believe that the tradcons and the church, the pill happened, but a closer reading of the data suggests that the pill was merely a concurrent.
I'm going to say a few things. So there's a flight from farms to the cities. There's increase of feminism, so
Mm-hmm.
they tend not to like children. Also, well, women in the workplace. Babies tend
Oh,
to get in the way of that.
Nick, what was happening a lot in the 1960s? Specifically, women in the workplace.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh,
And then
okay.
in 73, you see a sharp decline. That was Roe versus Wade was passed.
Yeah, that's this right here.
Yeah. So, that's a really steep decline right there at 1970 through the 1975.
Yep. Kind of levels out in 73. This is
Yeah, it levels out to like
Okay.
1.7 or something.
right. Yeah. 1.8.
Okay, it's
And what's
resident
replacement levels?
Catholic.
Guys, yeah, that's actually a great question, Nick. For reference, for all of this data, replacement level is 2.1. For anytime we're talking about this, you must be at 2.1 or higher. So the last year that the US was at replacement was 1971. We have never gotten above it.
It's replacement
Okay.
2.1.
We did it for a couple years there.
Okay.
We did for a couple.
You know what? I think we should blame the Catholics.
Okay.
I mean, that's an easy scapegoat.
Okay, go ahead. I'm Catholic. And I'm going to bring in the Catholic perspective. What happened in the early 60s? Catholic wise.
Vatican II.
Yeah. It started to be talked about late 50s, early 60s. They were rambling about it. There was a lot of controversy. Okay, we're going to do it. I think it came out in 65 or something. But there was a lot of rabble rousing, societal too. We were kind of moving from the beatniks to the hippies. It was kind of this era of free love, moving. I mean, there was just societal changes that, yeah, the church needed to address, the Catholic Church, I mean. But whether you're Catholic or not, it just was a time of transition of mindsets.
That was definitely occurring back then, and we did a show on that called Cultural History way long time ago. Steve and my dad got to have some fun reminiscing about their childhoods. So, like this is not this fertility rate problem is not a new problem, and so people are going to be. The next question I'm going to get is, okay, well, what happened here in the 1990s and to mid 2000s? Why do we have this 15-year sort of bump? Where did that come from?
Remember
Well,
having kids.
Well, it's a little bit of an artifact of how the data is calculated. Specifically, you guys remember this chart, okay? That 19, so this is American demographics, U.S. demographics for 2025. It's a projection, but we're projecting the final the fifth year out of with 4 years of data, so it's pretty accurate. And if you look, this is that same bulge right in here. That 1990 is right here. 1995, 2000, 2005. Okay, and that's that bulge. Well, where does that come from? Well, that actually comes from this bulge up here higher on the flag. Okay, or higher on the graph, 1965. And the way TFRs are calculated is it's just per women. It's not childbearing age women, it's all women. Okay. And this fact is actually going to become key when we look at the TFRs of other countries, particularly, and we're going to save this for last because it's a TradCon favorite. But when we look at Hungary, this you're going to see something that looks very similar to this. And then I'm going to show you Hungary's demographic profile, and you're going to go, aha. So the TFRs tend to go up when there's a bulge in the childbearing age, when the bulge of women in childbearing age, because TFR does not. Go ahead.
There's a simple way to understand this. It's about a 20-year echo.
Correct.
Baby is born. And the echo comes back. Yeah. More babies are born about, 20, 25 years later.
It's gotten up to be closer to 25, 30 years now. But
yeah, 25, 30. Okay. Yeah. But it's an echo effect of a prior surge.
Right.
That's a simple way to understand it.
Right. So your prior, so you have your 1960 peak up here. And then starting in 1985, 25 years. Oh, look, it turns around a bit. Then it lasts for, in this case, lasts for about 30 years. It was it's hard to understate. It's really hard to describe just how important the baby boom era was to the United States in terms of birth and fertility rates. Okay. But that is this right here on the thing on the chart. So whenever you see this bump here, just understand that it's a 25 to 30 year echo of what was happening before. Okay. So we mentioned, of course, Trump and his baby bonus. Now, this is from ABC News. This is a large organization that does not like Trump. One such proposal that has been pitched to the White House, to White House advisors, is a $5,000 baby bonus to every American mother. I want to zoom in on that right there. Mother. For new mothers. Okay? And it goes on to, talk about, how. By the way, Carolyn.
Where's the father?
Well, this doesn't specifically mention fathers because it's not targeted to fathers. It's mothers. See?
Oh wait. So you can have a woman on, it would be what, Medicaid, right?
Medicaid, yeah.
Paying $0 for a kid, right?
Uh-huh.
And then getting $5,000 on top of that.
That is 100% true and accurate statement.
So, is this a mischaracterization of the problem? Really, let me ask you this. Is the problem the low birth rate or the low number of children being raised in a home where the father is present.
They're both symptoms of a deeper problem.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Or
have to agree with
results of a
Nick.
deeper problem. Results of a
Okay,
deeper
so
problem.
what was the population of the U.S. in 1940? 140, 150 million?
Yeah, give me a sec. I can look this up.
I'm pretty sure it was around that. So that was right before World War II. Our men had jobs, they were productive, women weren't in the workforce. We were doing quite well. Okay, we were coming out of the Depression. Okay. And we ramped up, and damn, we found enough men to put what, 2-3 million men in uniform to go fight the war, make all the shit, and then they came back, and damn, we had enough labor force in this country with about 150, 160 million by then people to do quite well.
By the way, Steve,
And then we had a boom. Yeah.
it was 132 in 1940. 132 million.
Oh, okay. So, okay, the number of babies born was not that high then. So, but they were born with fathers in the house. So, as thought exercise, could we get along with the number of children born today with a much larger population? But the number of children, if there were fathers in the home with raising these kids with some boundaries and discipline to be productive, men to be productive, go out and do things, and women to be mothers and have intact families. Do we need this many people? Is the birth rate the problem, or is the bigger problem fatherless kids?
Well, I looked it up. The population of the United States in 1970, and I want to point out here, guys, that this is all before the big immigration laws came into effect. Hart-Celler was 1965, but it really didn't pick immigration really didn't pick up until 1990. The census in 1970 counted 203. So we added 70 million people in
Wait,
30 years.
70 million. We're at 350 now. What was the population in 1990?
In 1990, it
What?
was 248.
Say that. 248. Okay. You got cut off there, or I didn't hear it right.
Okay. So in 1990 was 248. 1970, when birth control became really popular, was 203. But in the space of 30 years, this is how important the baby boom was. In the space of 30 years, we added 70 million people. In the following 20 years, we added 45 million.
And a lot of that, some of that was immigration.
Yeah, and some of
A
that
lot of it. In recent years.
Yeah, well, yeah, and particularly Hart-Celler passed in 1965. That kicked it off. 1990 actually has really accelerated it. We don't have this data. I cannot get it for you.
Well,
because it is illegal to collect it. But with that total fertility rate includes all of the first generation immigrants who have kids. If you were to back out those immigrants, we have no idea what it would be, but not good.
I'm going to jump to the conclusion. You can't increase the birth rate by incentivizing women monetarily. Nope, not going to work. And the birth rate is not the biggest problem. Well, maybe it is the biggest. I don't know. But there's a third problem. Children being raised with a father in the house in authority over that child. You can, even if you magically increase the birth rate, but you didn't raise the number of children raised by fathers, you wouldn't solve anything. In fact, your problem might get worse because Nick has talked about, gee, the number of single or children raised by single mothers, the boys end up with crime problems and the girls end up as unwed mothers.
And psychological problems as well associated with all that. So,
Well, yes, I mean that is Steve just jumping to the end. We can end the stream now, guys. That's it. There we go. We're done.
oh, like any good paper, you have to say that say the end from the beginning, and at the end you restate the beginning and restate what you've proved. So,
Oh, but Steve, it gets better. There's something that came out this week. I got another one for you here.
Okay, good.